Nice. There we go. And then hopefully everyone can see my screen. All right, yeah. So if you're an attendee, please feel free to add your name under the attendees list. Otherwise, we'll go ahead and get started. One thing that came up recently in the kgateway Slack was a question about breaking changes on the main branch or the main Docker image. One thing that I found useful is the kind breaking change label on PRs. Tim added a, oh, I can't share this tab. Now I can. Tim added automation to ensure that there's a label. Like every single PR needs to have a kind and then changelog type, which is new feature or fix or breaking change. If you are using our cutting edge Docker image, which is created on every single push to main, this label might be helpful for you.
Yeah, and one more thing to call out is if you are using the rolling image, there's also still an inherent risk there that you're gonna see some breaking changes come in on features that are actively in development, and we're not putting the breaking change label on something that was added during this current release cycle and then changed later in the cycle, because that's not considered a breaking change. Breaking change is something that was in 2.0 and is changing in a breaking way. So that's always a risk when on like the main like rolling image. But then in addition to what Ashley's pointing out, always good to have an eye on things coming with this label.
Yep, that's the difference between a latest stable branch and I guess a experimental main branch where things change a little bit more often.
Yeah, I mean, I think we could even like retag that to be something that is a little clearer that it is kind of experimental branch, but it says main on it too, so I think it makes sense.
Gotcha. Nina, you added these. These are essentially links to all the breaking changes that went into the gateway.
Yeah, so I think it's just a repeat of the message you sent in Slack, but if anyone didn't see it, these are like things to call out that have changed in the last week or so.
All right, any questions about these? If not, I was thinking we could move on because the question that was asked was answered in Slack. All right, in that case, moving on to the next item, I hear we have a demo.
Well, Nina? I don't. This isn't really a demo, but
oh, sorry. We'll walk through.
It's just like I think more of discussion. So, if you also want to step in and give context, but we're doing the GitHub Secure program, which means that there's some security improvements that we've been working on behind the scenes. And one of them is they want us to enable static code scanning. And there's kind of two options that we can go with. One is a CodeQL new like GitHub workflow that runs at a set cadence. So I have a draft PR there that kind of walks through that one. Or we already have our Go, what's it called? Go CI linter running on every PR. So we could follow like Istio's pattern and use GoSec as an additional check that we do as part of that. GoSec and CodeQL have a lot of overlaps. So I would recommend going with GoSec, but I'm curious to see if anyone has any strong feelings about enabling CodeQL for Go versus like you doing it on the every PR as part of the linting step instead. I know
what about the rest code?
Sorry, what was that?
So what about I think the GoSec linter is definitely my preference, but I think we'll have a bunch more Rust code, right? Next release.
So, I mean, the Rust code will probably for all the data plane changes would live in Agent Gateway. So it's a separate repo. But for Rust formations, I think that's a good question. Like if that's something that we want to, enable a different, I don't think we currently have any linter on the restorations subdirectory. So maybe that's like an issue we can open and track separately.
Sorry, for my own understanding as well, I understand now that the kgateway source code now is not just for Golang. I think we have Python and one other language. So does the GoSeg to work for Python? So how do we catch the Python part now?
So the Python, I think, is interesting because we're planning on deprecating the external processing, like AI extensions in 2.2. So I think going forward, we won't have to scan that, but there will be still like tests that we might want to scan. But those are like, they're not, part of the binary that gets packaged. They're just like testing the SDKs work with our AI gateway.
Okay.
So I think we're fine on the Python part. The REST formations part is, I think, a good question to bring up, but I think there's still like ongoing work to like make REST formations in line with the current like Inject transformations. So maybe we can create an issue to track that separately from the main like control like scanning logic.
Okay.
But I think that is a good call out. Like GoSec is specifically for Go versus CodeQL could potentially be more flexible for other languages in the future.
Also, as part the incident response plan, I've seen some comment which I'm going to action on, and so I appreciate if anyone could like go through and then chip in any suggestion or anything we could add to that. Also, for the threat model, I think would raise the PR soon. So there is a doc already for that. Would raise the PR soon too, so we can have some discussion around what we want to add out or something.
Yeah, I think for the threat model, it's also good to call out this is like first pass, so it's not like a professional threat model. Like I think Envoy is part of Envoy Gateway is part of their incubation status. They had a professional company, what's it called? It's part of the anyway, a professional company come in and do like a threat analysis for them. So I think if we get to that stage as part of the CNCF, we'd probably want like a professional to come in and do it. But as part of the GitHub Secure program, they encourage like us to start thinking about a threat model and having like a basic doc. It doesn't have to be very like detailed. Like another API gateway project has a very simple one that I linked there. They're also doing the same program as we are, and that like counts as well. So it doesn't have to be like a very long, extensive doc with lots of diagrams, but it is something that we probably want to include in our security docs.
Yeah.
Quick question. Oh, go ahead, Art.
Hey, just since we're talking about the security docs, I was wondering what the difference is between the incident response plan PR and like what we already have documented in the security vulnerabilities docs, like on the website doc page. It seemed pretty similar, but like slightly different. I just wasn't sure if like this, like if we should take down the doc and link to this, if this gets merged, or if this should match what's on the doc site.
I think I know Lena is gonna have some input, but the incident response plan is more like a broader steps to take when there is an incident. It's just more like showing clarity, and then what's it called, accountability, and then helping users now to know what steps to take to report a vulnerability if there's a vulnerability in the code, which it's not something that is common with us, unlike other say binaries that is being consumed or downloaded millions of times. But I think it's just more like steps to take and to, if there is an incident, how to report vulnerabilities, and then for transparency purpose, basically.
Yeah, exactly. Like I think it depends on whose like viewpoint you're in. So the like the current vulnerability reporting doc is like, I want to report a vulnerability as a user, versus the incident response plan. We actually have like a private doc that if anyone's interested, we can share as well. But this is like, as a kgateway project, like what are we going to do when someone like responds, like reports a vulnerability? So it's like the steps that we take when someone reports a vulnerability versus like these are for like users reporting vulnerabilities. So that's why I think the incident response plan lives in their dev docs, and it's more of like a transparency step of like, these are the steps that we will take when someone reports it versus the vulnerability reporting is like a user finds something that's weird and they like report it. And like that should be like in the user facing docs.
Yeah, right. I guess we also have in the user-facing docs sections on like remediation, evaluation, disclosure, and so I'm just wondering if we should like
Duplicate the one and the
yeah,
user
exactly,
docs,
like,
right?
duplicate
Oh, okay.
the wording just so that like we're not saying something in the public doc and telling users like we're going to do XYZ, and then in the dev doc we're actually doing ABC or something, if that makes sense. So like I really don't mind. Like I would just want to know like, you know, if we want to keep the content in the docs or take it down or just like cross-reference to this or something.
Yeah, maybe it makes sense to cross-reference. So if you want to review the incident response PR and then like let us know where the like duplications are, or just like we can link to the dev doc as part of maybe the user-facing docs. Say like if you're interested in our incident response plan, like check out this dev doc.
Yeah, sounds good. Cool. Thank you.
Cool. And then the security MD file, this is
Yeah, so this merged, it just references our user-facing docs, I think. But it's just another check mark that now we have a security markdown. So good job, team.
gotcha. And this is required for the like CNCF project template.
It's required for the GitHub Secure program, and a lot of projects have it, so it's a pretty like wide standard in open source.
Understood. Nice. And then the threat model doc.
Yeah,
I think, sorry,
yeah.
I think Nina skipped some part too. I think she's enabled the Panda bot and is it the
Yeah.
Panda bot? There are some stuff you like enabled. I mean,
Yes.
just for the team's info, basically.
Yeah, this is a good thing to call out. Maybe we can add another bullet point. It's not really user facing, so no one should really be impacted by it. But Dependabot is now running in the background, so we'll get security alerts when things are out of date. There's actually some like tools that we fixed with like our mock server for the AI ET tests, so nothing in the binary itself, but there are some old dependencies in our mock intent test tool. And the other thing that's running, so we have secret scanning running, and I think that's it, right? Yeah.
Secret scanning. So where will the security alerts be sent? Is it a GitHub issue that gets filed in kgateway?
No. So it's just an alert that happens on the repo side. So if you have if you're a maintainer with repo privileges, you'll be able to see that alert. And it's very easy to dismiss. So it's not going to pollute the repo with like noisy issues. It should just send alerts, and then we can triage them internally.
Gotcha. And is this secret scanning, just for my own curiosity, is that a GitHub action or a?
No, the same thing. It's private, so like it'll alert us in the security tab, but it won't create any issues or like publicly publish any information.
Nice. And this is just making sure nobody's like committing AI keys to the repo.
Exactly.
Okay. Nice. Good call out. All good to move on to the threat model doc.
Yeah, so this is just a call out that we'll have a PR up with something very similar. This is an example from one of the projects that is also doing the same program. They're also an API gateway company, so I thought it was a good example of one. But yeah, it's not like a very detailed doc. It's just something that we're also lacking in our dev docs, and it would also probably live in the kgateway repo, unless anyone has other ideas of where it should live.
No, this makes a lot of sense. I can see a lot of people wanting to be able to point to that doc for people who ask about it. Like all security teams probably need to look at that. Alrighty. Yeah, so I know this will probably be in the agent gateway repo. Could someone volunteer to create an issue in the agent gateway repo to do this?
This is the stuff that lives in the regular kgateway.
Yeah, this is for Rust formations.
Oh,
So
Go
yeah,
ahead.
we can make a quick issue actually. Like it shouldn't take too long. So it's just going to be targeting Rust formations. Like
thank you. Alrighty. Anything else on the security improvement side of things? Otherwise, we'll move on to the Istio and kgateway integration blog by Ariane. Ariane, are you here?
Yeah,
We'll double check.
am I audible?
yep, we can hear you.
Yes, we can.
Right. So we've been thinking about bringing up a blog about the securing Kubernetes services while integrating along with the Istio ambient mesh as well. At the first, it will start with a short background how kgateway is very compatible along with the Istio ambient mesh, as well as also how is it a lot better choice to opt for it, and how it's really important for while we are managing along with the north south as well as the east west kind of the traffic that's been going along side our clusters. And then the next part would be for the demo part will for the whole architecture will try to run a service like the Olama in a Docker container, not like in a cluster, so that we can have it as an external endpoint, live kind of an external endpoint, so that we can connect it as an egress with the help of the service entry, and show how kgateway and Istio can give us a fine graded control over the whole application and can talk to the outside of the cluster world as well. Then becomes the other part, that is the layered authorization policies, which kgateway will be helpful by the external auth. I will be integrating along with the kgateway docs whole thing as well, while integrating along with the keyword no. Like we'll start by applying external auth policy via traffic policies, and then for the final demo, we'll start integrating along with the keyword no as well as an external policy engine to validate our requests before they even enter the mesh as well. So yeah, this will also bring up as an advanced and really cool kind of a feature for the authorization part, as while integrating along with the keyword no. And then the other part is bringing up the difference between the L4 as well as the L7 telemetry policies as well. How differentiating between both of them and integrating is really important. So we'll deep down between the difference of both of these L4 as well as the L7 security in ambient, like along with the working along with the Z tunnel as well as the waypoint proxies, and how to apply L4 and L7 policies as well, and check the authorization part as well. While along with the request headers and paths that we can opt for the whole waypoint proxies. And then the other part is the CEL based authorization policies as well. To write the dynamic authorization policies, we can bring up and apply to both the ingress as well as the egress traffic, check to request headers to make an access decision, as well as also for the RBAC policies can be checked in this manner. And for the visualization part, I usually have, I mean, at the moment I have one kind of a feedback that has to be taken from the whole community. Whether we can run and ask for the whole logs, we can show the whole logs of the whole demo on the K9S, or either we can go on with some kind of a visualization solution like the Kali as well for the off Istio to show the whole success as well as the traffic logs that have just entered in the whole solution.
So are you asking?
Yeah, in the last part, I just
Mhm.
asked that is it more compatible to go along with the just showing up the whole logs in the whole code kind of the form, or either we can move on along with the more visualization kind of a solution like along with the Kali of Istio. So yeah.
Good question. I'm I'm more familiar with looking at the Istio metrics in Kiali, and that has always worked pretty well for me. I didn't quite catch the other option that you listed.
Yeah, it was the K9S, like the normal, kind of the feature in which the whole logs as well as the whole cluster is actually being shown. So yeah, Kiali would be a lot better solution for the visualization presentation as well. So that's why I put this particular on the waiting list for the feedbacks from the whole community.
Both honestly sound good to me. Like if you're asking about the visualization portion of this blog, I think both K9S and Kiali are familiar. So either works is my answer. I definitely know it'll work with K9S. I don't know if I've seen it work in Kiali, but my experience with Kiali is a little bit more limited. Anyone else's thoughts? Because, sorry, that's not a definite answer.
Yeah, I think for maybe next meeting you can just show both. If you have it like working locally, and we can do like a quick demo and then decide like if we want to do both, if one like makes sense versus the other. For logs specifically, you can control like what kind of access logs you use through the HTTP listener policy, which might be nice. But I think it really depends on what we're trying to show, right?
Yeah, that's a lot better. In the next, like the next meeting, I can bring both of them to show which one would look better for the whole blog.
Going back a little bit, you mentioned that you were using Istio and kgateway together. Just out of curiosity, are you using kgateway as a waypoint or as an ingress?
Like we'll be focusing upon using it as a waypoint at first.
Gotcha. In that case, Josh, should we be like a little bit more clear about our communications about plans for kgateway as a waypoint? As in, like right now, it's on by default, right? Is that the plan for the future? When is that going out or becoming false by default?
Yeah, so we were right now we kind of consider that like an alpha state. And at least from our side, we weren't planning on pushing that very much more. That's not the whole story around Istio integrations, right? Because there's plenty of Istio integrations on the ingress, and that's still. I was getting an echo.
Sorry, I didn't hear you. Can you repeat?
Oh, I think I'm getting an echo through your mic.
Yeah.
Anyways, all right, and I think I'm getting an echo. Okay, there we go. But yeah, basically, the Istio integrations are still important, are still like primary features for the ingress as well as the integration to have the SDS pod if you want it to do MTLS with sidecars, all that kind of stuff. But the waypoint is still in an alpha state, and we don't like have plans to move it past an alpha state unless someone else from the community wants to pick that up. With that said, I think we're going to actually change this to be disabled by default, not depreciating anything here or deleting any code paths, just not to automatically be like running this if a lot of users aren't using it anyways.
Yeah, I'm thinking maybe instead of as a waypoint, we focus on the egress case, because we already have, if your demo, Ariane, is focused on like reaching out to a llama running in a Docker container, it's kind of like the external like service case, right? So like we want to show how kgateway can access traffic outside of the cluster and apply policy to it. So it's still like valuable to show the Istio integration because you still have your mesh in the cluster, but you have kgateway acting as that egress gateway instead of as a waypoint. So So you'll still get like the Kiali metrics. You'll still be able to like apply like Istio policy, right? But instead of having the default Istio egress gateway, you'll have kgateway there instead.
We should probably circle back on that. In the ambient data plane mode, an egress gateway is functionally a waypoint. It's just a waypoint for traffic where the backend destination isn't in your mesh, but it still applies and follows the semantics of a waypoint.
Okay, but I think we would still want to support that with kgateway then, right? But I guess there's like some fun open questions to explore. So I think in like getting the demo set up with like kgateway like as the controller for your gateway class, right? And then applying policies to the egress gateway, and then showing like maybe without Istio just the basic traffic flow first, and then like add Istio and see like make sure that it still works with that as well.
There's also a lot of powerful features in kgateway that allow you to use it as an egress, even without the even if you weren't using like the egress from ambient, right? Like you can still call out directly to it and have traffic go through that for stuff outbound to the cluster.
Does that all sound like a good direction to go in, Ariane? This sounds like exciting stuff, yeah, for sure. And I just wanted to quickly call out the kgateway as a waypoint thing in case you ran into issues there, and wanted to make sure you kept an eye out for that.
Yep, and feel free to like once you have a first draft, share it in the community channel or like send it to us, and then next meeting we can have like a demo of it, and then I think that's easier to give feedback because we'll see like it in action and then be able to give like more concrete feedback on what like makes sense or like what kind of policies to apply, things like that.
Does that sound good? All right, I can't quite hear a response, but I will move on to the next point if that's all right. This is a quick community contribution guidelines update. I wanted to get feedback on it before merging it. So this is addressing some of the stale assignments and stale PRs in the kgateway repo. The main changes I'm just trying to codify. If a PR has not been modified for 30 days, the issue may be considered stale. We'll try to reach out and check if you're still interested in taking on that issue. I started that process last week. After 5 additional days without a response or progress, we'll probably go ahead and like close that PR and unassign that issue so that it can be made available for other contributors that are interested in giving a whack at it. This 30 days and 5 days, I believe is coming from other projects that are in the community that also use similar timings. Any pushback, speak now or forever hold your peace.
Just an input. I think sometimes, maybe until recently, I think sometimes some PR takes longer to get some attention. I know I have some PR from like 30 months back or so, and then having to like get your chain of thought back on some of those stuff after like 30 months can be somewhat, stressful. But I mean, if this is like the plan going forward, I think it's a good one. At least, within 30 days, your PR will be attended to, which I feel like is fine.
Yeah, that makes sense. I've also noticed this, like when I was going through the PRs, there were some very heartbreaking chains of comments, like asking for reviews, and those PRs like just were not getting the reviews that they needed. That is is definitely like someone definitely needs to hold the maintainers to a slightly higher standard. I see two reasons for this. One is that sometimes the issue and the PR are so mismatched that the reviewer just doesn't even know where to start. For example, they look at the PR and they don't know how to even begin to guide it to address the original issue. So it would essentially, in that case, be easier to just completely close the PR, update the issue description to be either more clear or to have a. I'm trying not to say like it was a like vibe coded PR, but I don't think I've seen any of those. But like that would be an example if something very like strange came up as a PR assigned to an issue. The reviewer would probably look at that, just like throw their hands up in discouragement and back away. So this is also trying to address that. The second case is when honestly the maintainers just get too busy with other work, and that is on us to like continue poking them. But yeah, I definitely hear that feedback, and I've seen that happen.
That's why the idea of some tooling to be running, and this could just post towards the community Slack as well, just to remind PRs that just as a nice reminder or summarization of PRs that are in an open state and might need eyes on, just to help out the maintainers if there's a lot of stuff going on in the repo.
Yeah, I'm hoping that
I know GitHub notifications can become overwhelming at times.
Yeah, I'm hoping that if I can close down the number of open PRs, the reviewers / maintainers will be a little bit less overwhelmed by digging through that list of PRs. But slow and steady steps. I also, as another idea, do we have an issue to like assign using the like /assign comment on an issue?
I think it's only I think it's only maintainers and then some members that have access to assign. I don't know if I'm right.
Yes, I think that's currently the case. Is this a pain point? Is it okay to stay it as keep it as this way?
I think it's, in my opinion, maybe it's better because, for instance, say first time contributors and they just get to assign, or I mean, there are some features that I've seen like on the team now get assigned personally to some people, and then you don't want like some first time contributors who are still trying to find a way around the projects to just assign that kind of feature to themselves. I mean, it's just my opinion.
Gotcha. Okay, cool. That was just a question on my end. Thanks for answering that. That was all I had. I will go over back to here. Josh.
Oh yeah, we're gonna cut an RC this week for kgateway 2.1. One thing I also want to note here is that like we do need to document a little more process around our releases, and kind of how we're gonna treat the branches there. I was gonna take a stab at that. Also, moving forward, I want to have way more frequent betas. We didn't do that this time around, and so I don't want it from a community perspective to feel like a release is coming out of nowhere. I want to make sure we have the milestones also more groomed and updated with the realistic dates. So I plan on this, being a lot more visible from a community standpoint next time around. But same as Ashley was talking about for the other stuff, growing pains of a new project and making progress slow and steady here. I just wanted to raise. We definitely recognize some of the gaps here as far as this being clear and communicated up front.
Yep. Thank you for putting up with us. All right. I see we have a new person coming here for the first time, definitely feel free to add your name to the attendees list, and welcome, welcome. If you want to introduce yourself, definitely feel free to. But I also saw that people were saying hi to you in the comments, so that works as well. In that case, if no one else has anything to add to the agenda, I'll call it here and stop recording.
Sounds good. Thanks for hosting, Ashley.